Hello everyone! Um, Today we're just playing some Minecraft mini games. We've got Parkour, Dropper, we got a Hypixel in place, I'm like, whatever that one is, Fill in the Wall, that one, and a few others. And for this episode we're just gonna be talking about whatever I feel like, really. Um, so this idea came to me, I was thinking, what can I do? Like, what am I interested in that I can combine with um, my, I guess, drive to make YouTube videos? And I was thinking and decided I just like to talk. I just like rambling about whatever there may be. So, this is essentially a podcast. Hope you're excited. Um, but I thought today we would talk about like sensation and perception and perspective. Um, because there's a lot of just random thoughts that just like float around my head so often that I thought, like, this is a prime example. Why not just ramble at my computer screen for a few minutes and then be done, you know? Um, so personally, I find the idea of everyone perceiving things, everyone sensing things differently, really interesting. So, like, people will talk about, I see the color red, but you actually see the color green, but we both call it blue. Does that make sense? Like, this block that I'm looking at right now, to me is one color, and to you is another, but we both recognize it under the same name despite viewing it differently. And there are a lot of theories around this, but what it comes down to at the end of the day is we don't know. Like, scientists do not know if we all view colors the same, if we all hear sounds the same. Like, we understand the wavelengths, we understand what theoretically the average person should be sensing. And we understand what we sense. But we don't know that everyone's perceiving it the same. So the difference between sensation and perception is essentially sensation is the interaction between the external world and your nerves. So someone touches you, you sense that pressure. You smell something, your olfactory sensors have chemicals that attach to them and tell you you're smelling this thing. But perception is how your brain interprets it. And so I guess what it comes down to is we all do sense the same things, but how we perceive it could be entirely different. And how this gets into color is that there's a theory that, the theory of the inverted spectrum, which is essentially we're both looking at a 600 hertz, I believe. No, hertz is sound. Whatever the unit is for color and waves of radiation, we're looking at 600 because the average visible light spectrum for an individual, or for humans, is about 420 to 730, if I remember correctly. I know it's 400 something to 700 something, for sure. And the inverted spectrum is we're both looking at the same point in time. We're both seeing like the same place. We're both seeing what should be green, which is in the middle of the spectrum. But I guess that really doesn't help with our example. So we're both seeing purple, which is at the one end of the spectrum, right next to ultraviolet. light. However, my spectrum is inverted from yours. So what I'm seeing, so while you're seeing purple, what I'm seeing is what you would call red, which is at the other end. And we have no way of testing that. Like, it is not possible because we both view this color as purple. Like, that is what society has conditioned us to call this light frequency. So it's purple. Doesn't matter. Like, I look good in purple, you look good in purple. Even though you think the color is red, to me it's purple and it still looks good on me. It doesn't really matter because we're still, despite we're perceiving it differently, we're sensing it the same, and we'll have the same opinion of like, this color goes with this color, this frequency of light goes with this frequency of light, just because it's inverted. I guess there is a theoretical way to test it, which would be to replace to take the the perceiving units within one individual's brain, nervous system, and put them into another individual's nervous system. And then that other individual can work off of their memory of their own perceptive circuits and the new perceptive circuits, and theoretically may be able to differentiate. We have no reason to believe it would actually work, but that is the only way we can test the inverted spectrum theory. And to me, that's just fascinating, because like, we'll never know. So I guess it's fascinating because I can keep thinking about it. I can think about it all I want. I can think about it to the ends of the earth, and I'll never know the answer, which is kind of depressing now that I think about it, but a lot of fun. Another thing going along with color is essentially just like the different ideas or the different meanings individuals, societies, cultures associate with various colors. Another thing I personally find fascinating. I find personally fascinating. Personally, I find fascinating. Who knows? It means the same thing. That said, so like, the color black in a lot of cultures is a sign of evil. Like, it is a sign of darkness. It is a sign of the underworld. It is a sign of dark magic. It is the sign of hatred. The color black is a very negative color. It's the color of ravens and crows, so it's the color of death. And a lot of cultures do not like the color black. But in ancient Egyptian times, the color black was worshipped because it's a sign of fertile soil. It's a sign of a place that a civilization could grow. So like just in that, like, black is both the sign of life and the sign of death. And every color has like diametrically opposed thoughts to it. So to like me personally, I view yellow as a very shallow color. I do not like the color yellow, do not particularly care for it. If you love it, fully support, go for it. But to me, yellow is the color of like, well, I guess shallowness is the best way to put it. Like, it is associated with sunshine, it is associated with flowers, which are great things. And a lot of people also associate it with happiness. Like, if you do color theory in relation to psychology, most often people associate yellow with happiness, which is wonderful. I'm glad people are happy with the color yellow. Personally, one of my close friends loves the color yellow. She's constantly wearing yellow. She looks really good in the color yellow. But if I see someone that I don't know, that I don't have a pre-existing connection with, and I see them wearing yellow, my association I make, that snap judgment that everyone makes when you just first notice someone, is that they're shallow. It's a personal problem. I'm working on it. And like, I don't operate off of that. But other people would see this person and be like, they're happy. Another color is the color red. So with red, despite in ancient Egypt it being a sign of evil and like death in the sand and such, the color red is quite often associated with anger, and on the same hand it's associated with power, which is also very interesting because like I think that ties into the like societal ideas, societal constructs of well, it could tie into gender and gender and sex roles in society. That said, it really ties into what's expected of people in power. People in power are supposed to be forceful, they're supposed to push boundaries, they're supposed to be stubborn, they're supposed to stand by their decisions even if they're wrong. All of those are things associated with anger and associated with the color red, which to me is problematic because I think red's a fine color. Like, I love the color red. To me, while yes, it can be powerful, it's also the color of courage. It's the color of, it is not the color of love. Red hearts, I don't know. But like, it is also the color of like power and life. Red is the color of life, not the color of love, but it is the color of life because, I mean, red blood, or okay, just red blood, but that's still something I associate with it. So like if I see someone wearing red, I'm like, good for them, they're strong, independent. But other people will be like, they're angry and they're mad. And then a third group of people will say they're strong, independent, angry, and mad. And a fourth group of people will be like, oh, they're happy. So just the thought of like how many different ways there are to view different colors and how so many people can think so differently on so many things is astounding to me. Personally, my favorite color in the whole wide world is silver. I've had a lot of people tell me, that's lame, you're choosing shiny gray, you're just choosing gray because you don't want to pick a real color, this, that, whatever it may be. I found that, I guess the reason I'm sharing this is I found that asking someone what their favorite color is tells you, and why, tells you so much about the individual. So, as an example, silver. It is gray. I am choosing it because it is gray. It's not a black, it's not a white, it is a shiny gray. However, I don't think that's a bad thing, because not only is it saying something about me in that I don't want to sit in the black and white. I don't want to find a safe place where everything either is or isn't. I like to sit in the gray areas in life. I like to find a balance between right and wrong. I like to find a balance between good and evil. I like to find a balance between helping others, helping myself. I like to take the middle road. I like to find an intermediate between two extremes, because I don't personally agree with being on an extreme in a lot of situations. There are some situations where that's important, but personally throughout life, I've found being an extreme, holding an extreme opinion, refusing to see the other side, has hurt me greatly. It's put me in rough situations, it's not allowed me to grow, it's put me in really rough situations, and things of that nature. So I'm like, okay, I need to start working towards the middle ground, so I like gray. And then I like the metallic versions, partially because I just like metallic colors. I like the slight shine to it, I like the slight luster to it, but like, what does that tell you about me? Well, thinking about it, liking a luster or a shine to a color can symbolize having a deeper meaning. It can symbolize there's more than originally meets the eye, because from afar it's gray, but in the sunlight it sparkles. No Twilight references, please. No Twilight references. But colors, or having a luster, draws you in. It tells you there's more to the story. And I personally really appreciate that because as an individual, I do not. I'll answer any question. I will not offer you stories. Well, I guess that's essentially what I'm doing right now. But normally I will not just offer you stories. I'll answer any question 100% honestly, or I'll tell you I'm not going to answer. But having that mysterious aspect, that luster, that silver shine, draws you in and makes you want to ask me questions, makes you want to get to know me more. So that's one of the reasons I really like silver, because I feel it's a beautiful color. I just like the way it looks. But I also feel it says a lot about who I am as an individual. Now, I've gotten a lot of flack from my family. The family members I've talked about this with, of like, you can't just like a color for liking a color. Yes, go ahead. Like blue because it looks good with your eyes. Like this because of that. Whatever, whatever. But you liking blue because it looks good with your eyes tells me you care about your physical appearance and how people view you. Or it tells me you've had self-confidence issues in the past, so you're putting this color so that way you can build up your own self-confidence. It's... A lot of people don't understand that everyone does everything for a reason. Like, no human does any action without reason. You may not agree with their reasoning, you may not agree with the logic behind their reasoning or why they chose this thing over that one. You may not understand it because you might have to have lived in their context, you might have to lived in their situation, you might have had to experience a certain event of their life to truly understand it. But that does not change the fact that there is a meaning to it. There's a reason they're doing what they're doing. And I feel like that applies to the colors. I feel that applies to... I have a friend whose best color is yellow. I mentioned her earlier. She loves the color yellow because, she was raised in a small town, farm type area, and yellow's the color of, yellow is a very important color in fall and in spring, but in fall, fall is harvest, fall is when you have a lot of fun, because in the summer you're busy farming, you're busy working. In the winter, you're busy staying inside, making sure you can make ends meet, or having a job, not working in the fields or anything like that. But in the fall, while you're still working in the fields and you're getting ready to work to make ends meet and have your working your actual job, you're surrounded by the color yellow. There's a changeover in the seasons. There's signs of life with sustaining food. I may be from Iowa, so we might have a lot of yellow corn here. I'm not necessarily saying that's why she likes the color yellow. She also loves the color yellow because it represents sunshine after the winter. Because winter is a time of death. Winter is when everything dies, when everything slows, when everything's cold. Everything's dark. And then the sun comes out and things melt and it's yellow and flowers blossom and it's beautiful. So that's another reason why she loves the color yellow. So I know from her background she loves the color yellow. But I also know she loves the color yellow simply because it looks good with her skin tone. And it builds up her confidence and makes her feel more professional when she's in various situations. And I also know a third reason she loves the color yellow is because she is a Hufflepuff. I can talk about Harry Potter for ages. My thoughts, my feelings. I can talk about it for ages. Don't you worry. I'm sure we'll get there at some point. Maybe today. Who knows? As it sits now, we have time. Okay, that said, she absolutely loves Harry Potter and she is a Hufflepuff. Personally, Slytherin, Slytherin Hufflepuff relationships are the best. I will fight you on that. But she loves her house. She appreciates the values that Hufflepuffs hold. She appreciates loyalty. She thinks the finding things is cool. She appreciates friendliness, and that's what she strives to be. She strives to be friendly. She strives to be loyal. Part of the reason she's gone into a career in education is that she wants to help others. She wants to bring them up in a positive area. She wants to bring them up in light. She wants to teach and help them grow. All of which is related to the color yellow. Be that sun, be that spring, be that fall, be that Hufflepuff. So I know all this about her. And I've never asked, why do you love the color yellow? These are all things that I am postulating. These are all things that I am asserting. Other than I know she likes the color because it looks good on her and gives her confidence. She has told me that. So this is just one of like the many examples I have of why I think a color really fits a person, and like why I think an individual's favorite color or preferred color speaks volumes about who they are in their past. And I love talking about people's favorite colors. One of the first questions I always ask people when I meet them is, what is your favorite color and why? And they always look at me, they're always like, really, you're asking that question? And then they answer, and I say, oh, that's really interesting, that's really cool. My favorite color is silver. And I explain. And then they look at me and they think, some of them, I assume, are thinking this. Others have said this aloud, where you really think a lot, don't you? Like all the time, like too much sometimes. And I'm like, you're right, I do. I really do think a lot, too much sometimes. But that's why we're here right now. That's why y'all are listening to me ramble on. Hope you're enjoying it. Because I most definitely am. It's quite fun. Back to the topic of perception and sensation, though. I also find it very interesting that like different people sense things at different levels. Deafness, colorblindness, heat sensitivity, things like that. And we're all tuned into our own hormonal chemical equilibriums, but we also just don't sense things right. Another thing I just find extremely fascinating. Like, why? Why do our bodies grow and develop in such different ways that we're not able to sense things? Humans aren't able to sense things all the same. I understand. Actually, let's not get into this discussion. Discussions of genetics and alleles I can also have for days on end, though probably not now, because we simply do not have the time. But yeah, I find perception and sensation fascinating. I need to stop saying that word. It's gonna become a meme or something. Fascinating. And there's an accent for you. Hope you enjoyed that one. Different people's abilities, different people's skills, different people's considerations of different events, different understandings. And everyone seeing things differently. I see it as red, you see it as blue. I see us turn 180 degrees, you see us turn 170. I feel cold, you feel warm. The fact that humans are able to communicate with each other and explain that is astounding. even having developed such a complex so many extremely complex languages that we have, just thinking about that, like, the fact that we've evolved to the point that I can sit here staring at a computer which didn't exist 70 years ago. Like, technology of this level just simply did not exist. The precursors to technology at this level did not exist. And just ramble. I can Google while recording if I wanted. But I can just ramble about this is astounding. And the fact that we are capable, even with such a complex language, to talk about the intricacies and the differences of how individuals understand their interactions with the world, thinking about that blows my mind. It's wonderful. It's terrifying, do not get me wrong. Terrifying how advanced we are and how fast we've advanced, despite the language, English, all languages having existed for eons now. Forms of communication, but anyways, it's simply wonderful. It's simply wonderful, and I love it. Wonder what that says. Anyways, I really hope that y'all are having a fun time. Hope you've enjoyed watching me pretty much die repeatedly while playing parkour, and then die repeatedly while doing dropper maps, and then lose repeatedly in the various mini games we've done. I've had a lot of fun recording this ramble. It is just a ramble, and I'm gonna keep doing it, even if, well, I know there are at least in amount of people currently viewing this. If you're hearing this, you're definitely viewing this, so good job. Well, you're consuming this media in some shape, form, or fashion. That said, if you have any topics you want discussed, feel free to put them in the comments down below. Personally, I'm thinking of discussing Harry Potter, because I can ramble about various Harry Potter theories for ages. I've done it before. One time I sat down and recorded a 30-minute voice message to a friend about, I think, the equivalent of like 5 pages in a book. So, tons of fun, but I hope you've all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like. Please click that red little subscribe button as well. I'd really appreciate it. Who knows when the next one of these videos will be up? Who knows if we'll be doing the same thing? Maybe we'll be doing a game on mini clips or Nitrome or anything. You cannot see my eyebrows wiggle, but they're wiggling, so just enjoy that. Alright, have a good day, y'all. See ya.